Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Carolina Panthers in today's video. That is how you win a football game. Bryce Young, back-to-back weeks. The Carolina Panthers are undefeated at home, sitting nice at 3-3. It's crazy. It's almost like you're not supposed to freak out in the first month of the NFL. But folks, I'm so happy for Carolina, man. We made a video on them a couple of days ago saying all you gotta do is take down Dallas, and then you're 3-3, and now people are starting to believe. The team looks fully bought in. I'm watching some of this, like the locker room celebration with Dave Canales. The energy is just through the roof, and I'm loving it. And there is so much good that came out of this football game, and obviously Bryce Young just leading this team down the field. We'll talk about that in 1 second because we're going to spend a good portion talking about Bryce Young, but I do want to give some flowers to this Carolina Panthers defense, specifically their run defense, because first off, they held Javonte Williams in check and the whole Cowboys running unit. Javonte's had a really nice bounce back year for Dallas. They held him to just 31 yards, but what's really cool about it is all of it came after contact. All right. The Carolina Panthers defense also matched their season high with 6 tackles for loss or no gain. And between week 5 and 6, no team has a higher PFF run defensive grade. So this defensive line is definitely starting to figure it out. The offensive line is also definitely starting to figure it out, only allowing 1 sack. We'll talk about the offensive line here in a couple of minutes. But folks, before we get any further, I'm running out of breath. I'm excited for the Carolina Panthers. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. You know the deal. I've always been all in on Bryce Young. I don't know what it is. I liked watching him at Bama. You know, I'm a Packers fan. That Bears trade and the Panthers trade a couple of years back, everyone's always hated on Bryce Young. You know, the NFL media world just saying he's too small, blah, blah, blah. Bryce Young had the 8th best PFF passing grade, 77.3. I guess that's technically before Monday Night Football. But here's what's under the radar, all right? He's made the most big-time throws in the NFL at 6 over the past 2 weeks. Now, we can take a game like Dallas as a great example. And 1 week ago against Miami as well. Rico Dowdle ran the ball 30 times. And we'll talk more in depth about Rico in a minute or two. Bryce Young only had to throw the football 25 times. He completed 17 of them. 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, here's the bottom line, all right? This was the Cowboys' upset, or the comeback, 8th career winning drive for Bryce Young. But what's really cool about it is it's his 6th since returning to the lineup halfway through last year. So over the last 16 starts, he's had a bunch of game-winning drives. When trailing Dallas yesterday, he completed 10 of 10 passes for 125 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a perfect passer rating. So I don't think anybody's critiquing Bryce Young's stat line, because no matter how many yards you threw for, 3 touchdowns is very impressive. And it also is worth noting that Bryce's interception was off the hands of Tedero and McMillan, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So Bryce Young looked phenomenal. He's done such a good job leading this team. You know, we talked about this in our live stream last night. Bryce's 4th and 4? That conversion, that quick little slant to Hunter Renfrow. Oh my goodness. Like, you can tell this team is fully bought in and fully supports and fully believes in Bryce Young's capabilities of leading this team, and he has done such a good job these last 2 weeks after a slow start to the season. But folks, Rico Dowdle and this offensive line, they've changed a lot about this Carolina Panthers offense. The Carolina Panthers are currently the 3rd best running unit in the NFL. Now, once again, there's 4 teams playing football tonight, so take it with a grain of salt. The Carolina Panthers are currently averaging just about 143 rushing yards per game. And Rico Dowdle, 1 week ago against Miami, was 3 yards shy of the franchise record. And then in this football game, 30 carries, 183 yards, 6.1 yards per carry. He's in a revenge game. He's going up against the Dallas Cowboys, first time since going to Carolina. And like we said, he had 30 carries for 183 yards, which is 6.1 yards per carry. He also caught 4 balls for 56 yards and a touchdown. And my favorite statistic, he picked up 10 yards on the ground. All right, one thing that really kind of popped out to me with the Carolina Panthers on the box score is they went 3 of 8 on third down conversions. Folks, the Panthers had 410 total yards of offense. They ran 64 plays. They only had 8 third downs. Only 8 of it. And Rico Dowdle, huge reason why, getting 10 first downs on the ground. He also forced 3 missed tackles. He had 89 yards before contact, and he had 94 after contact, all right? Offensive line, missing a couple of pieces, right? Well, here's the thing. In the initial PFF review, everybody looked good. Everyone posted a pretty much around a little above a 67 PFF grade, which is well above average. Cade Mays at center, we talked a little about him a couple of days ago in our last Panthers video. Dude's been a stud for this Panthers offensive line. He led the way with a 75.8 run blocking grade. Damian Lewis had a 68 grade. Josh Neiman, 67.4. Brady Christensen, 68.9. And I always struggle saying this guy's name, Ekanwu, even though I don't. The lowest graded run blocker of the group still had a 64.4 grade. So this was a phenomenal offensive masterpiece, 410 yards for this Panthers team. Now, the rest of it just comes down to this defense. The one thing I would love to see, because, by the way, Carolina is currently a top 10 rushing defense. Once again, they were the worst in NFL history last season. They gave up over 3,000 rushing yards. They're middle of the pack, 16th in opponents' passing yards per game, but they're only giving up 214 passing yards. They're currently 21st in opponents' points per game. They need more takeaways and they need more sacks. They just need more players to make plays. They only have 5 sacks on the season. Now, they were getting to Dakota a little bit in that football game. Same thing with Miami. They're also averaging less than 1 takeaway per game, so we want to see that improvement. I am really confused and surprised that you guys are underdogs against the 0-6 New York Jets next Sunday afternoon. So I'm not really sure why you're underdogs to the 0-6 New York Jets, but Carolina is currently undefeated at home and sitting at 3-3, and a win on Sunday would get this team to 4-3. So it really is crazy what can happen in just a couple of weeks. Any given Sunday, they say in the NFL. 2 weeks ago, Carolina was just coming off a 42-13 loss to New England. So they've won 3 of their last 4. Excuse me, I've lost my voice completely, but that concludes our video here today. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. As always, let me know your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers down below, and we'll see you soon, man. Peace.